All right, so today we're doing something a bit different. We're diving deep into just one source, but it's a really unique one. It's a document that lays out, in incredible detail, a future war, a war that hasn't actually happened. And this quote, well, that's just one of the many reasons given for this war inside this fascinating, and I have to stress, completely fictional document we're looking at today. So yeah, let's get into it. So what if a history of a future war was already written? That's exactly what we're looking at. The source for this whole breakdown is a fictional Wikipedia article. It's written as if it's from the future, looking back on this conflict. Our job here is to dissect the crazy scenario it presents. Okay, so let's be crystal clear right up front. The document we're analyzing is a fictional Wikipedia article, and it's dated March 2026. So no, we are not predicting the future here. What we are doing is exploring the logic of this imagined war, how this one source thinks it could all go down. So, what is the 2026 Iran war according to this source? Well, it's laid out as a fictional conflict that kicks off on February 28, 2026. It starts with a bang, joint U.S. Israeli strikes on Iran, and then, boom, it just explodes into a much, much bigger regional war. And that's the story we're unpacking today. But how do we get there? I mean, how does something like this even start? The article lays out a pretty specific road to war, showing exactly how, in this fictional timeline, tense diplomacy just fell apart and turned into a full-blown conflict. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Let's put this fictional story up against some real-world analysis from the past. You see, back in 2021, the Atlantic Council was saying that diplomacy was really the only thing that had ever worked to rein in Iran's nuclear program. So just keep that thought in your head as we look at the path this fictional article lays out. Okay, so this fictional countdown to war is intense. It escalates incredibly fast. In December 2025, you have massive anti-government protests across Iran. By January, the U.S. is already threatening to intervene. Then, in early February, the U.S. starts its biggest military buildup in the region since 2003. And then, and this is the crazy part, on February 27th, there's an announcement that a diplomatic breakthrough is within reach. And literally the next day, the war begins. Talk about whiplash. And that's the key, right? You've got these two totally different paths. The real-world analysis from 2021 was all about diplomacy, negotiation, de-escalation. But this fictional scenario, it goes the other way entirely. It's a path of maximum pressure, a huge military buildup, and it all ends with a preemptive strike. Just two completely different worlds, leading to completely different results. All right, so let's talk about the attack itself. The fictional article even gives the opening salvo a very dramatic name, Operation Epic Fury. And the way this article describes it, it's just this incredibly overwhelming, multi-pronged assault. First, President Trump gives the go-ahead. Then, bam! U.S. missiles in more than 200 Israeli jets hit over 500 targets. And get this, the next step is a decapitation strike. The Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and dozens of other senior officials are assassinated. I mean, that's a classic high-risk, high-reward move, right? You're trying to completely paralyze the enemy's command structure from the get-go. And to top it all off, a massive cyber attack hits, causing a near-total internet blackout across Iran. So why? What was the official reason? Well, according to this fictional account, the U.S. never really gave one clear answer. Instead, it was this whole mess of different and sometimes even conflicting justifications. You know, everything from preempting a threat to destroying military capabilities, stopping them from getting a nuke, securing natural resources, all the way to achieving regime change. The goals were all over the place. Now, obviously, an attack like that isn't just going to go unanswered, and the article details exactly how the situation immediately spirals out of control into a massive regional crisis, dragging global economic chaos right along with it. According to the source, Iran's response is incredibly fast. We're talking within hours. They launch their own mission, codenamed Operation True Promise IV. And look at where they strike back. This isn't just about hitting Israel. The article claims they hit U.S. bases all over the region. We're talking Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, plus a British base on Cyprus, and even targets in Azerbaijan and Oman. Just like that, the conflict has gone from 2 or 3 countries to like a dozen. And the economic shockwave? It's immediate. The price of oil, according to this source, just skyrockets to $114 a barrel. You can imagine the tremors that sends through the entire global economy. And here's the big reason why.
The fictional account says that the Strait of Hormuz gets shut down, closed. For anyone who doesn't know, that is the critical choke point for so much of the world's energy supply. Closing that's a move that causes an absolutely massive disruption to global trade, instantly.
So, okay, we've talked strategy, we've talked economics, but what about the people? The fictional article goes into the staggering human and cultural cost. And remember, this is all supposed to have happened in just the first 2 weeks. Just look at these numbers, pulled right from the fictional source. It is grim. We're talking thousands killed, tens of thousands injured, and not just in one place. You see the highest numbers in Iran, of course, but the devastation is spread all over the region. Lebanon, Israel, U.S. forces, Kuwait, it's everywhere. And these aren't just numbers on a screen, right? In this scenario, this is a massive human tragedy that unfolds in just a few days. The damage to just stuff is also insane. The article reports over 5,500 homes hit, more than 1,000 businesses, almost 100 schools and medical facilities. It even mentions that irreplaceable cultural sites get damaged, like the Golestan Palace, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I mean, that's a kind of loss that goes way beyond just military targets.
And of course, all that destruction creates a massive humanitarian crisis. The article talks about people being displaced all over Iran and Israel, but it gives one really specific, really shocking number for Lebanon. Over 700,000 people forced to flee their homes. That is a huge, huge chunk of the entire country's population. You've got an instant refugee crisis happening right in the middle of a hot war.
So let's just recap the story this fictional source tells. You have what looks like a diplomatic breakthrough, which is immediately followed by a massive, decapitating first strike. That strike instantly triggers a regional war on multiple fronts, and the economic and human costs are catastrophic, right from day one. And that really brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? I mean, yes, this whole scenario is fiction. It's a speculative history from a Wikipedia page that isn't real. But digging into it, looking at its structure, how it escalates, the consequences, it really makes you wonder. What can a detailed, imagined crisis like this one tell us about the very real pressures, the real-world logic that can actually lead nations to the brink of war?